Hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome to the Mystic Visionary Podcast. This is your host, Zia, and this is episode 35. And I'm doing something different today. Since it's episode 35, I thought I would take a break from the words and give you a little background of what I'm holding space for. The podcast is holding space for the new paradigm. And what the new paradigm looks like is something that was in a download to me back in 2020, early 2020. And it came to me during a meditation, and I wrote it all out on a whiteboard, and then I did a little booklet, and then I wrote a book, and now I'm doing this podcast. But what it came down to was 5 basic principles of the new paradigm. And it also showed me the old paradigm and the differences between the two. So it was like contrasting. And I have a little sheet that I created, like an infographic that I'm going to link below. So if you want a copy of that, you can have it. But I thought I'd just go over those 5 basic principles today and explain what it all means, or what it all means to me, and what I'm holding space for. And basically, holding space for the unseen and holding space for it until it's seen. And I think we're in the process now of it being revealed. Things are falling apart or falling away, and the new is being revealed. And it's really exciting. I mean, it's been a few years, but it's really happening. So I thought I would start and just go over these. And what I'm going to do is going to talk about what the principle is in the new paradigm, what it was in the old paradigm, and basically what you can do to bring more of that into your current life and help me hold space for the new paradigm that's emerging. First of all, principle number 1, we'll get started. Unity consciousness. And what does that mean? Unity consciousness means recognizing that we're all connected, that every person, every animal, every plant, everything on this whole entire earth is connected. And what we do affects the whole. How we relate to things affects everything. And we are in relationship with everything. We are all one. We are all one energy. What we do really affects other people. And what we're told in the old paradigm is that we're in duality consciousness, that we're separate, and that we enjoy like our self-identification. We identify by all kinds of labels, and that we focus on opposites. So in the new paradigm, we change that. We realize that we are in relationship with everybody, everything, and that we are more similar than we are dissimilar. And as I wrote about in my new paradigm, or the pocket guide to the new paradigm, it's like, how do you use this principle in your life? First of all, you look at ways that you identify yourself as different from others, whether it's political or even a job title. And then the quickest way to break out of your duality consciousness and into unity consciousness is to recognize these labels and how they separate you from other people. Now, a lot of times it seems really deep-seated, and it seems like it's just this basic truth about who you are. But all of those things are really assumptions. They're not real truth. And I think that the important thing is to recognize the way you divide yourself from other people, the way you see yourself differently. And so I suggest in here to make a list of all the ways you identify yourself, and then be honest with yourself and think how this identity keeps you in that old paradigm of duality consciousness and separation. Then ask yourself which one of those you're willing to let go of, or are you willing to let go of all of them and step into this idea of oneness, which is basically pretty simple when you learn to let go. All right, I'm going to go on to number 2. Number 2 is autonomy and self-expression. We are sovereign beings. Now, what exactly does sovereign mean? When it first came to me in meditation years ago, I had to look up sovereign because I thought about like sovereign nations and a sovereign rulership or whatever. But I realized that what it means is we are the power of our own selves. We are our own leader. We are our own boss. We are our own person who sets the truth for ourselves. Nobody outside of ourselves can do that. That is what being sovereign is. And autonomy is that. We are autonomous. Although we're connected to everything, we are a unique emanation of the divine. We are an individual with our own truth. And we have a way of expressing ourselves that's unique to us. So in this bigger unity consciousness, we are like a drop of water, or a wave, or drop of water in the ocean. We're part of the ocean, but we're still a unique drop. And we have a distinct set of truths and a unique divine design. So these things aren't necessarily contradictory. They're just two ways of looking at something. And in the old paradigm, we are identified as consumers. And that in this capitalistic world that is in the old paradigm, we are given our power over to being consumers, which a lot of people think that gives them power. But all that is an identity that makes you somebody who just is part of that system of consuming. And that system of consuming benefits the corporations or the power structure that wants you to be a consumer in order for that capitalist system to work. And you really don't want to be that. That is being used and not about sovereignty or autonomy or true self-expression. So autonomy is the understanding that you are a sovereign being. It is your right as a human to certain dignities. You have control and power over your body and your life. You have free will and self-determination. You control your thoughts, and what goes on in your mind is private. These are not just rights as Americans. These are human rights. So what does autonomy and self-expression mean to you? So take some time to daydream and explore what your life would look like if you allowed yourself to honestly express your passions. As part of this whole thing of this new paradigm is people going within into their hearts and finding out what really makes them their unique self and what passion or what purpose that they feel that they want to express. So that is guiding principle number 2. There's a lot to it. You can dig into that, and it's just so much to it. But we're going to make this simple and try to keep it under my 20-minute limit that I've set. So guiding principle number 3 is love and cooperation. In the new paradigm, love is the center of life. It is all of us recognizing and accepting that the force of love is the greatest force in the universe, and love will always prevail. It's the internal focus on being that nature of yourself, your innate wisdom. It's about cooperation and compassion. It's about connecting to that good that exists in everyone. And I truly believe in the new paradigm that is what we have to focus on. Now, in the old paradigm, we are in the same ideas, fear and competition. It's fear and lack and scarcity consciousness. We're externally focused instead of internally focused. Winning is more important than, and attaining is more important than anything. It's this us versus them mentality. And all that does is make us more separate and buy into that whole duality consciousness routine, when in fact, love and cooperation is our basic nature. This idea of compassion, like when there's something happening in the world like there is right now in these horrible fires in California, compassion is the first thing that you see rising up, the things people do and go out of their way to help other people. And it is always like so heartwarming to see how much compassion just comes out. I remember Wayne Dyer had a thing where he talked about when you squeeze an orange, you get orange juice. When you squeeze a person, what comes out? Well, most of the time, if you squeeze a person, compassion and concern and care is going to come out. Good is our basic instinct. So we have to go in this new paradigm and put our focus on love, knowing that love is the center of life. When people have those near-death experiences, or anytime they've like connected with their higher self or this higher realm, the one main theme that they always talk about is this sense of love, unconditional, bountiful love, something like they've never experienced before. That is what our universe is made out of. Love is the glue that holds us all together. Yes, it is. So if you want to connect more with this principle, I would say practice meditation, quieting your mind and opening your heart, and allow yourself to go into an empty space of the unknown by just focusing on your heart and imagining your heart just opening up and allowing whatever that feeling is to come out, and just let love flow and see what happens. All right, number 4 is multi-dimensional energy beings. That we are all a multi-dimensional energy beings. And right now, actually, I am writing a book trying to explain what I feel this is about and how we need to live differently than we do in the old paradigm. The old paradigm identifies us as 3-dimensional, identifies as body, and our medicine treats all the different parts. And time and space is linear, and we're into Newtonian physics. But in the new paradigm, we see ourselves as multidimensional energy beings. We identify as layers of energy. We're connected through vibration and frequency, because that is all there is. And healing happens at all levels in this energy field. It could be sound medicine, it could be Reiki, it could be acupuncture. There's so many ways that energy healing takes place. And quantum physics is the basis for this new paradigm, which is the understanding that instead of just focusing on matter, we focus on the empty space around the matter. That's the basis of quantum physics. And in that empty space around the matter is unlimited potential. And that's the part we need to remember. So as we see ourselves as an energy being versus a 3D identified as body only, it really changes so many things. And it also is like a shift. One of the things I've recognized is that I have had these concepts, and I've been teaching them, and I've been writing about them, and I've been podcasting about them. But I realized just a few weeks ago that I still might see myself as this 3D body, and that medicine is treating all these parts. And I listened to a talk given by Dr. Zach Bush about how we heal ourselves from the inside out instead of the outside in, which is reconnecting with that innate body wisdom. That's the most magnificent, and most sophisticated and intelligent information or wisdom there is on this planet, the human body. So that is what I'm trying to work through, and I'm already started writing it because I'm going to experiment on myself, how to shift from that 3D physical body to being a multi-dimensional energy being. So more on that to come. But if you're interested in following this thought and holding space for this, it asks you to see yourself as more than your physical. It requires you to open your mind and accept that you are more than your physical. And what you need to do is just practice that. Think about it. Read about it. There's so many books out there now, like the books about your auric field and about energy healing and about, Reiki treatments. There's a really great book by a person named Dr. Sue Morter, and it's called The Energy Codes. And that book is really great. I've learned so much from her. And she also has a show on Gaia TV or on YouTube. So look her up. It's Dr. Sue Morter. And so what you can do is just start investigating what that means to be an energy being and not just this three-dimensional physical body that's broken into all these little pieces and parts. I was listening to some doctor talk about his sister who went through medical school, and as she was finishing, she was trying to decide what her specialty was going to be. And she said when it was all broken down, there were like 42 different specialties that she could choose from. And he said it just like made him really realize how far medicine has gone in the direction of not healing the whole person, that it's broken a person down into all these little pieces and parts, and then they try to heal one part without checking to the other part. It's like insanity. So we have to get into this place of realizing that we're multi-dimensional energy beings. And the whole multi-dimensional thing is a whole nother thing, but we are that, and I could do a whole episode on that, which I think I will do in the future. All right, the last one, number 5, is I am that I am. And what that means is that we are each a unique expression of the divine having a temporary human experience. We will never be replicated, never before, never again. But we also possess all the attributes of the divine, and that we each have our own individual relationship with God or source or universe, whatever you call that. It's like this unique experience. In the old paradigm, we have an authoritarian God, and that God governs with rules, and there's heaven and there's hell, depending on what religion you're in, but it's kind of consistent in a way. And religion will teach you about God, and there is a hierarchy for you to connect. And the individual relationship is sort of pushed aside over the bigger relationship through the hierarchy. And I think that in the new paradigm, it's like this is something you can believe in anything. You can be part of any faith, but you have to understand that what you are is a spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And that allows you to possess all these amazing attributes. And connection with that and an internal or individual or personal relationship is transformative. I mean, totally. So I think that in order to really understand this principle, it's like a really personal thing, but just go deep into your heart and contemplate, go into meditation, understand that I am that I am, what God is, I am, what source is, what the universe is, I am. I am stardust having a human experience, and open your mind to that possibility. Well, there it is, the 5 guiding principles of the new paradigm. Hopefully it opened your mind a little bit to some new possibilities. If you want to read more about that, I have my audio book called The Pocket Guide to the New Paradigm. It's on the YouTube channel, and you can find a link below. I also have my Heart Archetype Quiz on my website, which I will link below, where you can take that quiz and find out if you're listening to the call of your heart. Because all of this stuff in the new paradigm is basically this concept of opening up to that your unique divinity, that divine design that you came here to express. That is what it's all about, recognizing the spiritual nature or the wholeness of your innate being and being able to dive deep inside yourself and have that inward focus, from the inside out instead of the outside in. In the old paradigm, our attention is just drawn outward constantly, and we're just pulled so far away from our authentic self. And in the new paradigm that I'm holding space from, it's exactly the opposite. You go inward, and then you live this inside out life. And there is such joy in that. There is such blessing in that. It's such a shift. And I know sometimes it's difficult to take your eye off the things out in your world that are drawing your attention. And there are a lot of them. I mean, it is just crazy how much is going on out there that takes your attention away. But going inside and living from the inside out is what the new paradigm is about. Listening to your heart, finding your passion, your mission, your purpose, the thing that just lights you up, and then build on that. So this is a great way to start 2025. If you want to read the book, you can also get it in Amazon. You can check on my website. I'll link that below too, or you can just buy the book and read it. It's a simple little book filled with some big ideas. All right, that's it for today. Thanks for listening, and I welcome you all to hold space for the new paradigm that's emerging. Blessings to you. If you want to learn more about the 5 guiding principles of the new paradigm, you can listen to my audiobook, which is The Pocket Guide to the New Paradigm, which is a free audiobook on YouTube. I'll link it below. And the other thing that I have available is the Heart Archetype Quiz. It's a short quiz that answers the question, am I listening to the call of my heart? And you take the quiz and you'll discover what might be blocking you from living the call of your heart. And I think that's what we're all being called to do right now, is to look inside, connect with our heart, and follow its guidance. All right, thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week.